to the European Fertility Society. I'm your host today, and today we are going to discuss Fertility Care Awards 2026, how to apply. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining. Today we are definitely thrilled to have Andreia Trigo, chair of the Fertility Care Awards. Hello, Andrea. Welcome back. It's been a year since we've done it again, so
I
I'm really
know.
happy to be back with you. How are you feeling, and are you ready to explain to us how to apply, but also about the terms and conditions? There are so many things that we need to cover today, right?
Yes, thank you so much for hosting today, Caroline. We are so
Always a pleasure.
excited that the time has come again to start gathering applications for the Fertility Care Awards. I know it has been a year since we've done this webinar explaining, but the work never stops behind the scenes.
Exactly.
So it takes a lot of work to get ready, and there are some changes from last year to this year because we're always trying to improve the process to make it as fair as possible and to highlight the best possible applications that are out there. So I think it's always good to host this webinar so that people can be aware
Definitely.
of the differences that are coming this year and to try and make the best of their application.
Definitely, even the categories change and there are new ones. So, of course, there are lots of things that happen, as you said, before and after. There are plenty of things that we need to take care of, but we are happy to have you here with us today. And just a little bit of housekeeping today. We will start with the presentation on our topic, where Andrea will walk you through all aspects on how to apply, who can apply, and then we will have time for your questions. So as always, please put those in the chat and Andrea will be happy to answer them all. We are simply here to help you out with any questions that you might have. And I guess over to you, Andrea. Ready to start with the presentation?
Yes, let's go.
All right, let me know if you can see it. I think everything should be fine and we can begin.
Perfect. So I can see our video is on top of the presentation. Is that, I don't know if you can move also my video, because at the moment I think it's covering part of the presentation. Perfect. Thank you, Caroline. Welcome, everyone. I'm so glad to be here today to tell you about the Fertility Care Awards 2026. And if you haven't heard about the Care Awards 2026, then this is definitely the place where you have to be to learn everything that you need to know to make the most out of your application and to give yourself the best chance of winning this beautiful trophy that you can see here on the screen. So we have been running these awards for a few years, but every year we look at how it has gone, what can be improved. And that's why we are introducing this webinar, because we have a few changes that we've made since last year. We want to make the awards better and better every year. So do stick around to make sure that you give yourself the best chance of getting this beautiful trophy in 2026. So today we're going to talk about the categories for 2026. We're going to cover the entry requirements, the application process itself, what you need to do. I'm also going to give you some tips to make sure that you're able to complete this application process and give yourself the best chance. I'm going to give you insight into the judging criteria. So when the judges are reading your application, what are they looking for? And we have very clear judging criteria, and I'm going to share that with you. And that is really useful because that means you can adjust your application and make sure that you're meeting the criteria to the best of your ability. Finally, we'll have some important dates that you cannot forget, the deadlines, and finally, I'm more than happy to answer any questions that you may have. So the first thing that you need to know is that the website of the European Fertility Society, you can see here at the top, europeanfertilitysociety.com is the website where you can find all the information and where you can find the links to submit your application. And the first thing that you're going to do when you go onto the website, you're going to click this button that says Fertility Care Awards. It's an orange button. And when you do that, you see this beautiful page with the trophy. And this page has all the information that you're going to need and all the links that you're going to need to apply as well. So I would invite you to either scroll down through this page, or if you want, you can click on award categories and find your categories that are available for this year. So let's look at what is available for this year. So we have some categories that are available only for fertility clinics, and these are the best holistic clinic, the best international patient care and support, the best LGBTQ and patient experience. This is a brand new category, the best patient-centered care clinic, and the best patient care assistant. So these categories are for clinics only, but all the other categories can be applied by individuals or clinics. So these categories are a bit different from last year. So I would invite you to check the categories that you feel are most appropriate to you. You can, if you want, apply to more than one category. You just need to complete different applications for each category that you want to apply. The big focus, regardless of which category you are applying, is that the work that you're doing, that you are applying with, needs to be related to patient experience. So everything that, when we're talking about the category of best holistic clinic, or the category of best fertility book, or the category of best fertility advocate, everything needs to link to something related to the impact that that work has done in the experience of patients. You'll notice that each of the categories has a plus button, and when you click on that plus button, it expands with a longer definition. So this longer definition gives you important information. It's the beginning of the criteria of each category. So read, if you're thinking about which categories are best for you, you can read these descriptions because they will really help you narrow down which categories you should apply. And once you're ready, you will be able to click this orange button, Apply Now. When you click this button, Apply Now, it's going to take you to the next page. And this is an important page. This is the beginning of the application process. And an important aspect here is that only people who are members of the European Fertility Society can apply for the awards. Now, being a member is completely free. So if you are not a member yet, if you're hearing about the European Fertility Society, make sure that you are registering first, either as an individual or as a fertility clinic. Just make sure that you register. It's completely free, and it guarantees that you then are able to log in and start your application form. I must notice that this process of becoming a member can take a few days for you to be approved, so don't leave it to the last minute. If there is a deadline for submitting an application, make sure that you become a member much before. So I would say straight after this webinar, if you're not a member, make sure you go on this page at europeanfertilitysociety.com and become a member straight away. And in a few days, you will have your membership approved. It's completely free. And then you can get ready with your application for the awards. So on the awards page, if we continue scrolling down, there's a part that has all the information about the entry submission process. And there's something here called the guidance for applicants. So this is the guidelines, terms and conditions This is an important document for you to read. And I would say read it even before you start writing your application. It's not a long document, and I will tell you a lot of the information that is in this document today in this webinar. But make sure that you download it, that you read it, because it's always good to remember all the relevant information. So let's start with the entry requirements. So the links to the applications are available. You need to register as a member, as I was saying, and then you are able to log in, and then you're able to start writing your application. Now, it's important that all applications are in English. So your application, even if you are a clinic who typically works in a different language, it's important that you write your application in English, which is the official language of the society, and any documents that you submit as part of your application, they should also be in English. You will have a few questions to answer as part of the application, and there is a limit of 2,500 words in each of those sections. I will show you in a bit what those sections are, so you have a clearer idea. One of the things that you're going to notice in the guidance for applicants is this sentence that says that the European Fertility Society reserves the right to declare any entry ineligible if the form is incomplete, deficient, false, or misleading. So if you are applying and you are writing an answer that is just one sentence, so that's very incomplete, and that will not be considered or put forward to be assessed by the judges. So just make sure that you answer and you make the most out of that answer. So all the entries that are submitted, if you want to submit several awards, and you can do that, you need to submit it in separate entry forms. And all the work that you're going to write about should be related to activities that you've done in 2025. So we're celebrating things that have been happening in the fertility space that had an impact in the experience of patients during the year of 2025, and we are awarding the awards in 2026. So when we look at the entry criteria, as I was mentioning before, the applications can either be an organization, for example, a clinic or a society or a charity, but it can also be an individual. For example, we have categories for doctors, nurses, coaches, advocates. So it's important that you can choose what is more applicable to you. If you are representing a fertility clinic, the fertility clinic has some extra criteria that we need to be mindful of. One of them is that it must have been in operation as a licensed healthcare provider in the country where they are operating for at least 2 years. So if you're a clinic and you've been operating for 2 years, then you are able to apply. If you are an IVF clinic, you must also have been working to improve the quality of reproductive care and non-clinical services through continuous quality improvement program within the quality management system. So it must be part of your daily processes, your need to continuously improve the quality of the care that you are providing. And the third aspect is that you must have a patient care department or a similar unit that manages the patients at the different stages of the process, things that they need to do before they arrive to the clinic, once they are arriving, how the process is once they are at the clinic, the discharge, and the post-treatment follow-up. So once you are registered as a member, as I mentioned, the membership is free, but it does take a few days, so make sure you do it. Once this webinar is finished, you will be able to log in to access the application form, and you're going to be able to complete the online submission. So it's important to know that you don't have the ability to save So once you start the application, you'll need to complete it, and you'll need to submit it. So if you prefer, you can, for example, start preparing your application in a Word document, and once you're ready, you can start the application through the platform and submit it. An important aspect that we have introduced last year is the ability for the judges to request further information from the applicants. So if you have applied to an award and one of the judges feels they need more evidence from you, then they can request that, and you have 3 working days to provide it. A clear example of that is, for example, let's say you have applied to the category of social media channel, but you haven't uploaded any evidence about the data that supports that application. For example, you haven't submitted how many views, how many comments, the reach that your posts have. So it's important that we provide evidence. It would be good if you submit it straight away in your initial application, but if you don't and the judges feel that they need that information from you, they can request it, and you have 3 working days to submit it. So how can you make sure that what you are writing is really reflecting the amazing work that you're doing? So one of the things that I would say is to focus really on the impact that the work you're doing is having on patients. So explain how your work is addressing specific challenges, how it's contributing to something innovative, or how it's improving outcomes or experience of individuals or couples. Secondly, think about how you stand out. What is innovative about this piece of work? Because there are so many fertility clinics, and it can be really hard for patients to identify the differences between these clinics when they are just looking at the website. So it's important for you to be able to show us what is innovative, what is different, what is new about your approach, your technology, your methodologies, and how does it improve the experience of the patients that are having treatment with you. Number 3, make sure that you provide evidence to support the statements that you're making in this application. So if you have any data about patient experience, if you have any testimonials, case studies, or if you've published research, for example, this is really important because the judges will be able to really see the impact of your work. Finally, once you've written your application, make sure you proofread it, give it to a colleague to read to make sure there's no mistakes and everything is written and is accurate, it's clear, and it's coherent. Seek feedback from your colleagues, your mentors, to make sure that the application is really reflecting the amazing work that you're doing. If you have any question around this process, you can contact us for clarification. So you have the email that is on the screen. It will also be on the European Fertility Society website. Make sure you send us an email. Martina is very quick to respond. So if you have questions and you're not sure, make sure you send us an email. And my last tip is to celebrate your achievements regardless of the outcome. We know that there are so many people doing brilliant things. So celebrate your effort, your dedication, and the impact that your work is already having in fertility care. So now that we've seen these tips, what I wanted to share with you is the different questions that our judges are going to read. So these are the questions you have to write. And Martina, I think the presentation is buffering a bit. Yeah. So our judges, we have 3 independent judges who are assigned to each category. There is a lot of work behind the scenes to select these judges and to match them to each category. The basis for that selection is how knowledgeable they are in the topic, their expertise, and the long-term practice of dealing with fertility clinics and their patients. Another aspect that is important for you to know about the judges is that the judges are all independent. So no judge knows what the other judge is assessing in terms of the categories or the scoring that they give. So it's as independent as possible and also as unbiased as possible. So all the judges have to sign to say that if they are biased towards a certain topic or certain applications that come through, and we remove as far as possible all the biases from to make sure that the judges are independent and can make a fair rating. So for each category, the winners are selected based on the judges' combined ratings. So these judges will be evaluating the applications from April 15th to May 15th. So they have this period to read and to make sure they give the scoring that they feel is fair. So let's look at this table that has all the application information. So you can see that we have here 3 large groups of categories. In category 1, we have some awards that will be fertility advocate, coach, psychologist or counselor, doctor, embryologist, nurse, midwife, nutritionist, dietitian. So these group of awards have the same questions, the same application form. And they are going to be asked to describe the work that they do in a maximum of 2,500 characters. We're going to ask you, why do you think you should be awarded this award? Again, a maximum of 2,500 characters. We're going to ask you, how has your work impacted patient care? Describe your qualifications in patient care as well, and your previous achievements in this space. So there's 5 questions. Each question has 2,500 characters maximum, and there are some optional aspects. You can add any URLs, any websites, or you can also upload a 3-minute video explaining why you think you should be considered to be the winner. So these 2 aspects are not mandatory, but I think they are really helpful because they help the judges connect with you in a different way. So they can see you, they can hear you, and it's really strong compared to just sending the words. And I would really like to encourage all the clinics that we work with, and we always receive so many categories from clinics, to really invite the staff that they are working with, their doctors, their embryologists, their nurses, to apply. There's so many of them doing an amazing job every single day. So we want to see more applications from every single staff in the clinic. Finally, we have a second group, which is the group number 2, and here are the questions related to best holistic clinic, international patient care and support, LGBTQ+ patient experience, patient-centered care clinic, and patient care assistant. And here we're going to ask you a brief description of the process, why you think you should be awarded this award, how was your specific process impacted patient care, and how does this specific process work in practice at your organization, and how do you measure, assess, and improve this specific process. Again, you can add URLs, websites, and you can also upload a video. The final category is category number 3, and here we're talking about the category for books, podcasts, social media, and education projects. Here we're asking you to a brief description of the project. Why do you think these should be awarded? How has your project impacted patient care? And what did you want and what did you achieve thanks to your project? And finally, how did you achieve the aims of the project? Again, you can upload any websites, you can upload a video. If you are applying for the book category, you have to upload the book. So this is not optional. If you don't upload the book, then the judges are not able to read the book and they cannot really judge you. So this is non-negotiable and it's something that you need to do. The evaluation is expressed on a scale, and the maximum score for group 1 categories is 50, because we have 5 questions, so 10 each. Maximum that you can get is 50, and the same for the categories in group 2 and for the categories in group 3. Again, if the judges think that there is some information missing, they may ask you to submit extra evidence. Through the central office, there will never be communication between the judges and the applicants, but through the central office, they can request that information. So the question is, how do the judges really assess an application once they have it in their hands? And the first thing they're going to do is to see how it's aligned with the criteria that was set. So they're going to assess how well the project or the initiative aligns with the criteria and demonstrates that excellence in fertility care. They're going to look at originality and innovation. So they want projects that show creativity, that are original, that show innovation in patient experiences. They're going to look at the impact and effectiveness. So they're going to consider the extent to which your submission has made a tangible difference in improving the experience of patients, their satisfaction, and the overall quality of their care. Judges will also look at how much your application is focused on patient-centeredness. So they want to see a patient-centered approach. They want to see empathy, empowerment, and support throughout the fertility journey. Judges are also going to look at scalability and sustainability. So scalability refers to the ability of this amazing initiative to be replicated and grow beyond your work so that more patients can benefit from it. And also sustainability, how can it be sustainable over time so that your patients can continue being able to get benefits from it. Judges are also going to look at the ethical and legal compliance, so making sure that everything is following ethical standards and legal regulations. And finally, the quality of the presentation. So is it clear? Is it coherent? Does it look professional? So how do we decide who's the winner? As you know, we have 3 judges in each category. It's the combining of all 3 assessments that gives each application their score. And the entry with the highest total assessment exceeding 80% is going to be the winner and is going to receive a beautiful trophy. The entry with the second highest exceeding 80 is going to be the highly commended. And all the entries with the highest scores exceeding 60% will be shortlisted. So we'll be sharing a list of shortlisted. That means you had at least 60% or more. If you had the top mark above 80, you'll be the winner. If you're the second highest, you'll be a highly commended. There is only one winner per category, unless the number of points for 2 or more applications is the same. So important dates for us to consider. the closing entry is the 31st of March, so you still have time to complete your application. And we're going to announce the winners during ESHRE, as we've been doing for the last few years. So it's going to be on the 6th of July 2026 in London. So you may get the opportunity of getting a beautiful trophy like the one we see here on the bottom of the screen. And I'm ready to answer any questions you may have. And I can see that there may be some questions here. Hi,
Thank you so
Caroline.
much. Thank you so much indeed, Andrea. As always, it was very informative. There are lots of things that we would like to still discuss. And of course, remember, we are here for your questions. So if you have any questions, go ahead, type those in. And before we go for your questions, there are some things that I think we should be able to still clear up, so everyone is up to date with all those details. I would like to start with the supporting documents, which you already mentioned, of course, during your presentation. But could you clarify what kind of supporting documents are required for application? And we already discussed this even before we started today regarding the language, right? Because this is also a very important note.
Yes, so supporting documents are important because they help provide the evidence for your application. So if you are answering these questions, for example, let's say about the social media category, and you're saying you have these amazing TikTok channels and people are really responding to it and feeling really educated. So you need to provide a PDF of the reach, the likes, the comments of that. If you're writing, for example, about an education project and you're applying to the Education Category Award, so here you might apply, for example, with feedback from that education that people really found useful and learned a lot and made a really big difference to their experiences of infertility. So really make sure that you are submitting these URLs, these PDFs, these videos as much as you can, because they can really add up and make sure that maybe you get a few extra points because the judges will be able to understand your application much better. And I think you are asking the question, but it needs to be in English. I think our judges, of course, they are from different backgrounds. We have many languages amongst our very large group of judges, but the common language that they all speak is English. And of course, the award ceremony will be in English as well. So you need to make sure that you are writing your application in English. And if you are submitting this evidence, these PDFs, it should be in English as well so that we can understand it.
That's why we want to emphasize that it's important for you to send it in English so there are no, problems afterwards then, right?
Absolutely.
All right.
Yes.
Thank you. Thank you for that. And also regarding social media application, could you confirm it's just one social media channel per application, right? Rather than
Yes.
sending,
All your
everyone
channels.
nowadays have exactly. You can have Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, obviously Facebook, etc. Right?
Yeah, and we see that often people have more than one channel, and you might have YouTube, Instagram, TikTok.
Yeah.
But what we find is that we want to know which of those is your best, because usually people tend to have better results in one channel rather than the other. And so we're restricting to one channel per person. So if TikTok is your best, submit it with TikTok. Okay? If Instagram or YouTube is your best, really highlight that one.
Brilliant. Thank you so much for clarification, because sometimes I think it's still confusing. We did receive some sort of those applications, so it's important to again make sure that you are aware. And one more thing regarding strong application, social media application, to be exact. So we always ask for evidence, right? So some engagement, reach, impact. So those are other things that you should be thinking about. Yeah, we definitely want to see that your results, let's say, when it comes to that particular social media channel, right?
Yes, absolutely. So we do want to see that evidence. And
Definitely.
Caroline, I think one of the things, the messages that I already said a bit about it, but I really wanted to pass across is this idea that people can apply to more than one category. And if you are applying for a clinic, think about the colleagues that you're working with, and maybe you can nominate the patient coordinator, the nurse, the embryologist, who maybe are not aware that the Fertility Care Awards exist, but maybe you can nominate them so that they can be eligible maybe to receive this trophy, because it's the people inside the clinics that really make the patient experience what it is. And it's a teamwork. It's not one single doctor. So think about the team next to you. And if you're applying to the clinic category, that's great. But maybe you can apply yourself as an individual. If you're a care coordinator, for example, or think about your colleagues who are doing an amazing work and think should be on that stage receiving that trophy.
Brilliant. Totally agreed on that. Thank you so much. And sometimes we definitely received that question in the past. So is attendance at the award ceremony mandatory? If you win, do you need to be at the ceremony?
So
just in order to
you don't
get.
have to. Of course, we would love to have you there. It's always an amazing event, and it's an amazing experience to be called on stage, receive that trophy, and receive everyone's applause. It's truly, truly special. But we completely understand that many people are living really far away and may not be able to join. So if that is your case, you can still apply for the awards. If you do win, then if you want to receive the trophy, of course, then you just need to pay for the shipping of it to be sent to you.
Yeah, exactly. So basically, nothing to worry. We understand that. Although, as you mentioned, we definitely would like to see every winner there, right?
Yes.
All right. Thank you. So also many times received the question in regards to updating your application after submission. I mean, happens quite often that sometimes you might have something else that you would like to add and you forgot.
Yes, that's a question we do get often, because sometimes you might remember something that you forgot to add to that application. So if that happens, do send us an email to the central office, and Martina will amend your application for you. So just tell Martina what you want to change about it, and she will do it for you.
That sounds great. And of course, that means that you can still do that. And I'm sure Martina will be happy to help. So we are always there. And Martina is definitely the superhero behind the Fertility Care Awards. So you can definitely get in touch with her and she'll be happy to help you out. Okay, and I'm just looking at your questions. If you have any, we will be slowly finishing. So go ahead, type those in. I don't see a question here yet, but there's one more thing that I would like to ask you when it comes to some. The question is sometimes we had this experience before that you provide us with some screenshots, some reports, or sometimes links. And you also need to remember that they need to be active, right? For a longer period of time. This is again an important thing.
That's true. So sometimes people, because we allow people to send a video, and the video is amazing because judges can really see you and understand you and connect with you. So it's a great way of enhancing your application. But you need to make sure that the video is available. So if you have, for example, uploaded your video to YouTube with private settings, then the judges will not be able to access it. Or if you upload it to your Google Drive, again with closed settings, then the judges will not be able to access it. So make sure that when you provide this access, then you have free access for the judges to be able to access that content. That is a great question, Caroline.
Yeah, and we also remind you of that. But thank you so much for the clarification. I think that we will be finishing for today. However, before we finish, Andreia, any final words? Because of course, there's still time to apply. But any final words before we finish for today?
So the deadline is the 31st of March. So you're right. You have about a month to, I mean, March is starting this weekend. I mean, can you imagine where has this 2026 gone? So you have a month to apply. And it may seem like a long time, but time goes by quickly. So I would say to start thinking about it already next week. And if you're not a member of the European Fertility Society, you need to do that today, because it's going to take a few days, a couple of days for you to be approved. You don't want to find yourself having prepared a beautiful application that you're stuck and you can't submit it because you forgot to become a member. So make sure after the webinar, check if you can log in, and if you can't, then become a member. It's free, so there's no excuse. Do it, and that will be the first step for you to submit your application by the 31st of March.
Exactly. And time is running fast. And just to remind everyone, we will all the winners, highly commended, we will all meet in London this year, right?
Yes. So the gala is always happening around ESHRE. So ESHRE is in London, United Kingdom this year. So we're really excited to see you there. I hope you can join us. Our team is preparing a big party. There's always something special about the Gala Awards. So I can't say much about it at the moment, but we're keeping all the secrets with us. But
stay tuned.
It's going to be a big party. We would love to see you there if you can. And I think it's definitely it's the highlight, I would say, of ESHRE, being able to go to the gala and take a trophy with you. So if you're joining us, also make sure that you have space in your bag to take a trophy with you back.
Definitely. That sounds amazing.
And it's a bit heavy as well. It's a bit heavy.
True. Definitely. It's true. So we are definitely looking forward to it. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining. Andreia, thank you so much for sharing all the insights. And I'm sure this guidance from Andreia will help you submit a strong application. And we are definitely excited to have you all here. And we are just waiting for your applications, right?
Exactly. And I know that many people were not able to join the webinar. We deal with so many different time zones, and some people will be watching, during the next few days. So if there's any questions that you have that we haven't answered, send us an email. We'll respond straight away. We want to make sure that you can really highlight the work that you've been doing, and you can give yourself the best chance of getting that trophy.
Brilliant. Exactly. And remember, this has been recorded, so you will have a chance to rewatch it. It will be available on our YouTube channel as well. So stay tuned for more updates regarding the gala. And of course, we encourage everyone to apply. And we're looking forward to seeing you all in London then. Thank you so much, everyone. Andreia, as always, pleasure. Have a lovely evening and keep in touch. All right. Take care, everyone. Bye.
Bye.